Seriously. Purple. It's my favorite. Hades and Persephone were in love. People would like to believe that, but they actually were not in love, so this is a lie. Well, I think we all want them to be in love, right? I think the story of a very young goddess being abducted is very sad, and we would prefer to think that instead of being abducted, that they were in love, so that's why I changed it. Ariadne and Dionysus were lovers. That is actually true. They were lovers. It was said that Dionysus found her on an island after she left with Theseus, who defeated the Minotaur. We're not really sure if Theseus left her or if Dionysus sort of forced her to go with him, but overall that was his consort, so I will say true. This is fun. Lexo is Persephone's best friend. This is not a myth, but it is true in my world. I just felt like Persephone needed, you know, some friends. She did have nymphs in mythology, so think of Lexo as a nymph. Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades were the three most powerful gods of Olympus. I would say true. They were not the three. Zeus was powerful, and it is said that Poseidon probably was more powerful than Hades, but I didn't like that concept in mythology, so I did make them of equal power. I feel like I am pretending to be an expert in Greek mythology right now. I am not that. Hermes had a great taste in fashion. Hermes would say that is very true, although I think he has some questionable choices, as we can see throughout the entire series. So I just want to know where he's at every time he appears in something absolutely inappropriate. Ariadne had tried to defeat Theseus. She had not tried to defeat Theseus. She actually helped Theseus in mythology, and I feel as though in their dynamic, Theseus would not have been able to get through the labyrinth and kill the Minotaur without her. Why I chose to have her defeat, because I feel like Theseus is a hero in Greek mythology, but the person who should have been is Ariadne. So to me, he's a little bit of a villain in that respect, as he's like revered in mythology as this hero, but actually Ariadne is the true hero, as many women are in Greek mythology. Poseidon and Dionysus fought for the same wife. They did! They actually did. This is a true myth. I forget her name, but they did. They had a battle, and I think Zeus stepped in and had Poseidon as the winner. So in this situation, as in the books, Dionysus was the loser. The blood of the Hydra had the ability to kill the gods. That is not true. It could very much hurt, but it could not kill the gods. But I needed something that was going to be able to defeat a god, and that was the only thing I felt that was potentially powerful enough to have that effect. The one who killed the Ophiuchorus and burnt his remains would win the war against the gods. This is an actual prophecy from Titanomachy. The Titans tried to find the Ophiuchorus, and they did succeed in killing it, but Zeus's eagle came through and took the intestines away, and so they never fulfilled that prophecy. But I did use that in this story on Hades' side. It's very complicated. Dionysus became crazy because of Hera. He did. Hera is very jealous throughout mythology, and she decided to strike Dionysus with madness, which is why he traveled the world with his Maeads and created so much havoc. But I felt like in my modern retelling, all of that would have caused a lot of severe PTSD, so he no longer looks favorably upon his past. Minthe was transformed to mint by Persephone. That is true, she was, because she was caught with Hades, and a lot of people on the internet like to say that Hades never cheated on his wife, and that is not true. He actually did cheat on his wife in mythology, but we don't like that. We don't like that in the modern world, so I changed that. So, except I did keep her as a mint plant, because I thought that was funny. Dionysus created wine. That is true. He was the creator of wine, and he gifted that ability to a mortal, and the mortal shared this wine with other mortals, and they started to feel the effects of the wine, and they thought that this man had poisoned them, and they killed him for it. So that did not work out very well. But I thought, of course, I needed to keep it because Dionysus is the god of wine. Aphrodite was forced to marry Hephaestus. This is true. She was forced to marry Hephaestus. And her true lover was Ares, the god of war. But I always sort of liked the concept that she would have looked favorably upon Hephaestus and his genius, because he is very much the inventor of the gods and so many things in Greek mythology. So I did adapt that, but I did keep that they were forced to marry, and it is because Aphrodite starts wars over her beauty. So kept that. Hecate was Hades' best friend. In my retellings, of course, very true, but there's no true evidence that these two were friends, per se. Hecate did reside in the underworld, and she was free to go between worlds as she pleased, which I think if Hades is letting gods move between worlds, he would look favorably upon them. That is why I chose to have them be best friends in my retelling. The relationship between Hades and Persephone caused Demeter's fury. Actually, this is in the middle for me because the story of Hades and Persephone is actually a story of Demeter losing her daughter and men telling her it's okay. So that was that really struck her fury, and she essentially mourned her daughter and neglected the world, and that is what led to the drought and eventually Zeus intervening and saying, you can't keep doing this, you have to bring her back. And so then we have, you know, spring and winter because of that. So Persephone had a hard time controlling her powers. This is not true in mythology. We don't have a lot of evidence of Persephone's powers in mythology, actually. We see her vengeance. She's called Dread Persephone. So I like to think that over time she sort of learned how to be as vengeful as the other gods of mythology. But I just like contradiction, so in my book I thought it would be ironic that she could not grow anything as the goddess of spring. The life of each being was controlled by the fates. That is true. The fates spun a thread and they decided when they measured it, and then they decided when to cut it. That was your destiny, and you could not really fight with your destiny. And if you tried, there were grave consequences. So that is true, and I kept that in my book, and that's what the gods fight with all the time.